After saving his daughter, a rich man approached a homeless woman and asked her to pretend to be his girlfriend for an hour at his ex-wife's wedding to her new partner. However, when the homeless woman arrived at the event, everyone was left speechless. Michael was jolted awake at 6 a.m. by his phone alarm, pulling him from an uneasy sleep. It was an unusual sensation for him, given his typically busy schedule. With a sigh, he got out of bed, already thinking about the day's challenges. After a quick shower, he went to the next room to wake up his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, the one source of comfort in his complicated life. He gently brushed her hair and whispered, "Lily, sweetheart, it's time to get up. We've got a busy day ahead. Let's not be late for school." Lily rubbed her sleepy eyes and mumbled, reluctant to leave the warmth of her blanket. "Dad, can I have 5 more minutes? And please, no cereal for breakfast. Also, I don't want to go to your office after school. It's so boring." Michael tried to balance firmness with kindness as he replied, "No cereal today. I've made toast with your favorite jam. And about the office, Karen, my secretary, will take you there after school. You're too young to stay home alone, and the nanny is still sick. Come on, my angel, get up. I'll be waiting for you to have breakfast." Despite his luxurious and successful life as one of the city's most renowned architects, Michael's life followed a meticulously planned routine from dawn. He would drop Lily off at school, head to the office, and his day would be filled with meetings, projects, and negotiations, often stretching late into the night. Since divorcing Rachel, his ex-wife, and dealing with the betrayal of Jason, his former business partner, Michael, had become more focused on work and less on his daughter. The painful dissolution of his previous partnership was a brave yet exhausting step. He completely rebuilt his career, quickly regaining clients stolen by his ex-partner and securing new connections in nearby cities. Working from early morning until late at night left him little time for his daughter, Lily. Sometimes, Michael had to bring her to his office after school because he always came home late at night and was worried about leaving her alone. He hadn't even realized another busy workday was ending when Karen brought Lily to his office after ballet class. The girl sat down and showed him her grades before asking, "Dad, I don't want to be here in your office. It's so boring. Can I call Mom and go to her house? Can you pick me up after work late at night? She hasn't called me in a while. I miss her." Michael sighed deeply and replied, "Lily, of course you can call her. She's your mum, but I don't think she has time for you now. She always has other important things to do." Lily nodded sadly and started dialing her mum's number on the phone. "Hi, Mum. Since you haven't called me in a while, I decided to call you. Why don't we get some ice cream, or can I come to your house? I miss you." After a pause, Rachel nervously responded, "Sweetie, not today. I have a lot to do. You know Mum is always busy. If I have some free time this weekend, I'll call you, okay?" Lily pouted, feeling sad. Michael felt for his daughter. She just wanted to talk to her mother, but the woman didn't even want to see her. Then Michael winked and said, "You know what? I'm taking a break from work now. Let's go get a big 3-scoop ice cream with chocolate, strawberry, and sprinkles. How does that sound?" Lily immediately beamed and started talking about school again. After enjoying a family-sized ice cream, she opened her notebook and started working on her homework. Meanwhile, Michael went to an important business meeting. Not long after, he returned to find Lily asleep on the couch, wrapped in a pile of blankets. Michael made himself a strong coffee, settled into his favorite leather chair, closed his eyes, and drifted into his thoughts. He dreamed of giving Lily a life full of opportunities, the kind he never had during his own childhood, marked by poverty and sadness. Michael's journey from childhood to becoming a renowned architect was filled with challenges and perseverance. He grew up in a dysfunctional family where love and support were scarce. His parents were constantly in conflict, with an absent father addicted to alcohol and a mother overwhelmed by work and frustration, unable to provide any affection or encouragement. Despite this, Michael had a brilliant mind and exceptional talent for design and architecture. From a young age, he excelled in school, especially in subjects that required advanced reasoning and creativity. His teachers saw immense potential in him, often praising his dedication and skill. Besides his studies, Michael had a secret passion for drawing structures and buildings. His imagination overflowed onto papers where he sketched innovative designs and creative architectural solutions. Despite financial limitations, he participated in design competitions where, even with simple, accessible materials, his projects stood out. However, when he expressed his desire to pursue a career in architecture, his mother dismissed his dreams, claiming they were unrealistic fantasies and insisting he pursue something more practical. "Who do you think you are, wasting time with those drawings? I don't see a future in that. You don't have what it takes. Better focus on becoming a doctor or lawyer. That's where you'll succeed," she would say, doubting Michael's potential. Despite his family's disapproval, Michael remained steadfast in his passion. Determined to change his life, he left his hometown in search of education and opportunities that could turn his dreams into reality. It was a tough and challenging start, as he had little money and had to make ends meet by working as a waiter, salesman, and even taking odd jobs as a doorman. At university, he studied architecture with great dedication, surviving on scholarships and temporary jobs. It was there that he met Rachel, an interior design student who also seemed to have a bright future ahead. Always ambitious and uniquely beautiful, Michael fell in love at first sight. They shared a vision of future and success. After graduating, Michael and Rachel got married and opened an architectural firm. The business thrived thanks to Michael's innovative vision and Rachel's aesthetic touch. But as not everything is perfect, the intense routine and household obligations began to take a toll on their relationship. Rachel felt neglected, especially after the birth of their daughter, Lily. Feeling unloved and overlooked, she made a sudden decision to leave the law firm she had with Michael and sought comfort in someone else's arms. This new chapter was not what Rachel had expected. Although she stayed with Michael for their daughter's sake, her heart longed for something more, a rekindling of passion. That's when her lover, Jason, came into the picture. They met when Michael introduced him as the new partner at the architecture firm, after Rachel had decided to leave the company. Rachel was captivated by Jason's charming smile and sharp business acumen. One night, alone in the office, Jason invited her out for dinner and made his intentions clear. At first, she reacted negatively, but as the evening progressed, she found herself giving in, and before she knew it, they were in bed together. That marked the first time she cheated on Michael, returning home at dawn. After that, Rachel started meeting Jason more often. She would come up with excuses for Michael, saying she was overwhelmed with Lily and needed to unwind with her friends. Using these excuses, she went out almost every night, neglecting not just Michael, but also her daughter, Lily. The troubled relationship with Jason consumed her attention, leaving little room for her real family. On the other hand, Michael sensed something was off. The nights were long and lonely, filled with jealousy and resentment. Despite trying to have open conversations with Rachel, seeking to understand her changed behavior, she denied all accusations and made up excuses. The tenderness, affection, and warmth that once existed in their family vanished. Even amidst the pain and distrust, Michael hoped it was just a rough patch that they would soon overcome, believing in the love he still felt for Rachel and hoping she would return to being the loving partner she once was. He didn't want a divorce, thinking about Lily's well-being, as she needed her mother. However, when Lily turned 5, the situation reached a breaking point. Unable to handle her double life, Rachel made the drastic decision to leave Michael and Lily, leaving only a goodbye note. "I'm sorry, but I can't live like this anymore. I fell in love with Jason a long time ago and don't feel anything for you, Michael. I'm going to ask for a divorce." Michael was devastated. Rachel's betrayal and sudden departure left a huge void in his life. How could he explain to Lily that her mum had chosen to leave for someone else, and worse, someone he worked with? The nights were the hardest, as Michael struggled to find the words to comfort his daughter while dealing with his own heartbreak. Things got even worse in court. Michael discovered that Jason had found a way to transfer most of the firm's assets to his name, exploiting the trust Michael had placed in him to manage the business. Fortunately, the house was left for Michael and Lily, a small consolation amidst the whirlwind of losses. Despite the betrayal and abandonment, Michael refused to let the situation define him. Although he became a subject of ridicule in the town, and in some circles he frequented as if he had been disgracefully betrayed, he aimed to move forward. Determined to rebuild his life and provide the best possible life for Lily, he poured his energy into his work and being both the father and mother that Lily needed, ensuring she never lacked love and care. In search of a fresh start, Michael decided to invest in a project that had always been his passion but had been put aside. He opened his own sustainable architecture firm. With the help of old friends and the neediest in the community, Michael began to see the light at the end of the tunnel, building not just a new career, but also a new home for himself and Lily, where love and hope could flourish once again. His sustainable projects brought a new dimension to the city, which had previously produced tons of waste that were now being reused in Michael projects. This initiative even earned him recognition from the mayor for his contributions to the community. Over time, Michael regained everything he had lost because of his former partner and significantly increased his wealth. However, like a scale tipping out of balance, Michael began paying less attention to Lily as he worked too hard, trying to compensate for the pain and damage caused by his past destructive relationship. One afternoon, as Jonah tried his best to give Lily the love, affection, and care he had missed during his childhood through his work, he found himself wondering how he could change this situation. Amid these thoughts, he was interrupted by a knock on the office door. As he stood up to open it, he took one last look at Lily, who was still peacefully asleep on the couch. Soon after, Lily woke up, rubbing her sleepy eyes, and started doing her homework. However, it didn't take long before boredom took over. She looked out the window, longing for a moment of fun outside the confined space of her dad's office. Driven by a sense of adventure, Lily decided to sneak out while her dad was busy. She wandered down the streets, watching the hustle and bustle around her, until a park across the street caught her attention. With swings, slides, and climbing bars, it seemed like the perfect place for a short, fun break. Without a second thought, Lily ran towards the park, eager to enjoy a few moments of play before heading back to the office. However, her adventure was abruptly interrupted when the screeching of car brakes filled the air and a firm hand pulled her back onto the sidewalk, saving her from a near accident. Frightened and with tears in her eyes, Lily looked up to see the concerned face of a disheveled woman with dirty, tangled hair. "You need to be more careful when crossing the street, little one. That was close. Now, stop crying. Everything's okay. What's your name?" the woman asked. With a shaky voice, Lily, still crying, responded, "My name is Lily." "And where's your mom, Lily? Why are you here alone?" the woman continued. My dad's working in that building. I just wanted to play for a bit. He's going to be mad at me, Lily said, still struggling to hold back her tears. Seeing the fear and innocence in her eyes, the woman offered a kind smile and extended her hand. Don't worry, Lily. I'll walk you back. Let's go before your dad notices you're gone. Michael had started to worry when he realized Lily was not there. Panicking, he began searching the building, checking rooms, offices, and restrooms, but Lily was nowhere to be found. She had never left without asking if she could, and even then, she was always accompanied by Karen, the secretary. Still in shock, Michael called Karen to help him search for Lily. As they stepped outside, they saw the little girl walking with a woman who looked homeless, with dirty, worn-out clothes. Confused, Michael rushed towards them and began yelling, "Who are you? What do you want with my daughter? Get away from her immediately, or I'll call the police." But Lily interrupted her father. "Dad, don't yell at her. This lady saved me. A car almost hit me in the street. I didn't see it. I'm sorry, but it's good she was there to pull me to the sidewalk. Please don't be mad at her. I'm sorry. I'll never go out alone again." Michael hugged his daughter tightly and said, "Lily, my love, I was so scared. Don't ever do that again. Do you understand how dangerous that was? You're the most precious thing I have. I can't let anything bad happen to you, my angel." Then Michael turned to the stranger, feeling a bit embarrassed for having treated her harshly. "Well, Mom, I'm sorry. I yelled without knowing what had happened. Thank you so much for saving my daughter. I had stepped out of the office for a moment, and when I returned, she was just gone. I'm eternally grateful. I see you might need some money. Please accept this amount as a token of my appreciation." Michael tried to take some bills out of his wallet, but the woman refused and said curtly, "No, sir, I don't need your money. Thank you, but I did it from the heart and expected nothing in return. If you really want to help me, I'd like to get a job. That's how I'd feel rewarded. I'm ready to do anything. I want to start a new life, you understand? I can't stand living like this anymore," she finished with a sad, downcast look. Michael, seeing the woman's situation, paused for a moment to think. He called Karen, his secretary, and said quietly, "Why don't we hire her? With the increase in projects, it would be good to have someone else available to attend to clients. What do you think?" Karen frowned and murmured, "You're the boss. We'll do as you say, but I'm not too keen on the idea. She could start stealing or using drugs at work. I don't trust her." "Look at how she's coming in, all dirty," remarked Michael. "You're right," he replied, but continued, "Still, let's give her a chance to work here for a month or two as a trial, and then we'll see. My daughter deserves an opportunity." Turning to the woman, Michael asked, "Young lady, what's your name? Do you have any ID? Are you ready to work as an assistant in our office?" "My name is Sarah." "Yes, I have identification," she replied. "Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's exactly what I need right now. I'm ready to start whenever you need me. I promise to be the best at whatever tasks you assign me. You can count on me." "My name is Michael. It's a pleasure. I'm the chief architect at our architecture and sustainability firm. You'll be working with Karen, my secretary. Come back tomorrow at 8 a.m. She'll explain everything to you and supervise your work, okay?" Sarah started working at Michael's architecture office as an assistant. She was dedicated, polite, and always appeared well-dressed. With her first paycheck, she bought new clothes, got a haircut, and rented a small room, showing her gratitude for the chance to start fresh. She also began to develop a special relationship with Lily, Michael's daughter, who trusted her and shared her joys and struggles. Sarah treasured those moments with Lily. 3 months later, Michael was very pleased with Sarah's performance, appreciating her diligence and willingness to help. However, despite the absence of complaints against the new employee, Karen, Michael's secretary, felt uncomfortable with Sarah's presence, especially with the closeness she was developing with him. Karen had always harbored a secret affection for her boss, and after his separation from Rachel, saw an opportunity to become his new partner. When Sarah proved to be so competent in her work, Karen saw her as a potential threat. Therefore, she planned to frame Sarah to get her fired. One time, when Karen asked Sarah to fetch some documents, she created a scene, accusing Sarah of snooping where she shouldn't. "Michael, we have a problem." I left Sarah alone for a moment and she started looking through confidential documents. "Do you think she might be planning to sell them?" "I think you should consider firing her." "Remember, I warned you about the risks of hiring someone like her." "Well, it happened, just as I predicted," Karen suggested. Michael, confused and shocked by the accusations, confronted Sarah, who denied everything. "I didn't steal anything. If you don't trust me, I'd rather leave than be accused of something I didn't do. I don't want to be blamed for something worse or end up in jail," Sarah asserted confidently. Michael believed Sarah and promised to investigate the matter. He decided that Karen should take a break while they clarified the situation. The secretary was furious that her plan had failed. Furthermore, Michael's daughter was in the office that day and had observed Karen's behavior. The little girl then revealed to her father, "Dad, Sarah is innocent. I saw Karen messing with the documents. She wanted to frame Sarah because she doesn't like her. But I saw everything. I was hiding under the table when I saw Karen call Sarah to mess with the documents and then start yelling at her," the girl explained. "Thank you, Lily. Do you remember when this happened? You're my private detective now. You helped solve a very complicated situation. I'm so proud of you," Michael said, grateful for Lily's intervention and relieved to discover the truth. He reviewed the security camera footage, confirmed Sarah's innocence, and confronted Karen with the evidence. "Why did you do this? You've worked with me for so long, and now you pull something like this. Tell me, what's the reason?" The secretary frowned and, after a long pause, replied, "Because she's a filthy, stupid vagabond. I decided she needed to learn a lesson." Michael was furious with Karen's response. He had not expected such audacity from his secretary, who was now fired. Sarah thanked Michael again for believing in her. "Michael, thank you so much for not firing me. I really didn't do anything wrong. I'm just starting to live like a normal person, and I realize I don't seem good enough yet. But I'm trying hard to rejoin society. If you need anything, I'll always be here to help," the young woman said gratefully. In a moment of deeper connection, Michael dared to ask, "Sorry for my curiosity, but there's something I can't get out of my mind. How did you end up living on the streets? It's hard to understand. You seem like a regular person, far from drugs and alcohol, yet you ended up in that situation. How did that happen?" Sarah then opened up to Michael, sharing the paths that led her to the streets, and how saving Lily gave her new reasons to value life. "It's complicated to explain. My life has always been full of ups and downs. I grew up not knowing my mum, and my dad was a heavy drinker. Despite that, I had a childhood that I considered normal, even though our house always smelled like alcohol and cigarettes, and my dad brought different women home. Maybe that steered me away from any interest in drinking. After finishing school, I went to a community college. I got a few jobs and didn't take long to start my own business, achieving some success. I met a man who seemed like the perfect partner, but after we got married, he betrayed me in a devastating way, taking all my money. Suddenly, he was gone, taking everything we had, leaving me with nothing. I was forced to give up my dreams and close my businesses. The money ran out, and I lost my home. It's hard to describe how I felt, but saving your daughter sparked a glimmer of hope inside me. It gave me the strength to want to rebuild my life. Now, I'm on the path to getting back on my feet, trying to regain normalcy. My simple desire is to have a common life, build a family, have children, and somehow contribute to society," she finished. Michael listened intently before speaking. Rewritten content. How interesting. Our stories are so similar. I grew up in a pretty dysfunctional family and had a rough childhood that I don't like to think about. My wife left me and ran off with my former business partner, who not only betrayed me with her, but also took a big chunk of the fortune I had worked so hard to build. Lily still misses her mum, but Rachel seems to have forgotten she has a daughter. The last time she came to see Lily was over 3 months ago. But as you can see, I managed to overcome all these difficulties, and I'm sure you can too. The important thing is that you already want to change, and that's crucial. Over time, Michael and Sarah grew closer. They worked together, making the office grow and thrive. However, a new challenge appeared in Michael's path. One morning, he came across something unexpected: a wedding invitation. It wasn't just any invitation, it was from his ex-wife Rachel, who was getting married to Jason, his former business partner. That was shocking enough, but there was more. Minutes after receiving the invitation by email, a major Chinese investor called Michael, informing him that he would be in town for the wedding and wanted to meet him at the event to discuss business. This opportunity could be a big step for Michael's career, but it meant facing his past. During the call, the investor caught Michael off guard, saying, "Hello, Michael. I hope you're doing well. I'll be in your city for the wedding. How about we take the chance to chat? I'm glad to know that, despite the divorce, you and your ex-wife maintain a good relationship. Remember, my trip is especially for this wedding, and I'll be leaving right after. So, can I count on your presence?" Michael didn't know what to do in this situation. It would be too humiliating to see Jason's smug face marrying his ex-wife. But he couldn't pass up the chance to talk to this potential client. The investor was a Chinese owner of several construction companies, promising a lucrative contract that could further help Michael's business and the needy community in the city. So, without much thought, he responded, "Of course, I'll definitely be at Rachel and Jason's wedding. See you there." After hanging up the phone, Michael, still in disbelief, checked his email inbox again, and there really was a wedding invitation. He thought, "How strange. Why would Rachel invite me to this wedding? She doesn't even speak to Lily properly. Does she plan to humiliate me in front of everyone? Or does she want to improve communication with Lily and make peace? Perhaps she organized this meeting with the Chinese investor to ensure my presence at the event. Rachel knows me well and knows I would never turn down a meeting with major investors. In any case, I can't miss this damned wedding." Obviously, Michael didn't want to go. He could already imagine Rachel's satisfied face with her former partner Jason, while he hadn't found anyone. It would be better to show up with a girlfriend, but where would he find one for the next week? So Michael decided to ask Sarah for help. She was probably the only person who could help him in this situation. The next day, when Sarah entered Michael's office, Michael greeted her and, a bit embarrassed, said, "Sarah, you once told me that if I needed help, I could always count on you, right? Well, I need your help more than ever now." Sarah replied, "Of course. Just tell me what I need to do, and I'll definitely help you in any way I can. Tell me." Michael explained the entire situation with the potential client and ended by asking, "Please, pretend to be my girlfriend just for this day. This gesture would not only mean a lot to me, but also have a positive impact on many people's lives. It's just for one day. With a surprised expression, Sarah thought, "Look, Michael, you know I'd do anything to help, but the guests will definitely realize that I have nothing in common with them, and that could make things worse." But Michael, confident, replied, "Don't worry about that. We won't be there all night. My goal is for my ex-wife to see me, realize what she lost by leaving me for Jason, and understand Lily's importance. Plus, being at this event is crucial because of the potential client, which could greatly benefit our office and our city. You don't even need to worry about talking much. Just being by my side is enough. I'll get you an incredible dress and create a convincing story about us." They carefully planned their appearance at the wedding, with Michael hopeful that his presence with Sarah by his side would make Rachel reconsider her actions, while also seeking to take advantage of the business opportunity with the investor present. The big day arrived. The wedding brought together many guests at an elegant restaurant, all prominent figures in society. Michael entered the venue holding Sarah's hand. The harmony between them was undeniable. Sarah wore an elegant dress that highlighted her figure, complemented by high heels that accentuated her posture. Her hair, neatly styled, added a touch of grace to her appearance. Michael, on the other hand, wore a well-tailored suit that gave him an air of distinction. As they passed through the hall, everyone watched them and smiled, whispering approvals at the sight of such a harmonious and perfect couple. Greeting the guests, and finally the newlyweds, Michael addressed Rachel and Jason with an enigmatic smile. "Congratulations on the wedding. May this union bring you the happiness you seek. This is a gift from me and my fiancée, Sarah." Sarah added with a provocative gleam in her eyes, "Congratulations, Rachel and Jason. We hope you find the happiness that Michael and I share. I can't believe my luck in finding someone as extraordinary as him." Rachel, confused by the revelation, watched as the couple walked away to their table. A mix of surprise and jealousy overtook her as she looked at Michael and Sarah with an inquisitive gaze. "Who is she?" Rachel thought, unable to hide her annoyance, adding, "I thought Michael would be devastated after our separation, but I see he quickly found company. Who is that woman, and where did she come from? I'll find out more about her. This can't be happening. I've never seen her before." For Michael, the satisfaction was evident. They had managed to impact Rachel exactly as they had planned. At the beginning of the celebration, everything was going well, and Michael was able to talk to the interested client about sustainable projects. However, the situation took a turn when Rachel, visibly upset and drunk, decided to cause a scene. Grabbing the microphone impulsively, she announced to the guests, "I have something to say to everyone. I discovered something surprising about Michael's new love. She's not who she says she is. Sarah isn't a successful businesswoman or a high society woman. She was just a homeless person before Michael decided to rescue her. Now she works for him as an assistant. Karen, Michael's former secretary, told me everything over the phone a few minutes ago. I don't want this person at my wedding. I'm scared of what she might do. Please, leave our event now." The revelation caused an immediate murmur among the guests, all casting curious and critical looks at Michael and Sarah. Visibly uncomfortable with the situation, Sarah whispered to Michael, "I knew this wouldn't end well." Then Sarah stood up from the table, walked towards the stage, took the microphone from Rachel's hands and said loudly, "I'm leaving now, but before I go, I want everyone to know. It doesn't matter if a person is rich or poor. What matters is being a decent human being. And it's not okay to talk about people without knowing anything about them. Yes, I'm not a high society woman, that's true. But so what? I've never stolen a penny from anyone. Rachel, I'm glad you left Michael and Lily. They deserve better." Irritated, with a sad and distraught face, Sarah headed towards the exit. trying to contain her emotions. Michael quickly followed her because he didn't want to stay there either. Outside the restaurant, walking without realizing it, Sarah was struck by a speeding truck passing by. Lying on the ground, a red stain began to form under her head. Michael shouted for help, and panic spread across the street and even inside the restaurant when the guests heard the screams. The truck driver apologized, saying it wasn't his fault, as it was Sarah who crossed the street without looking both ways. An ambulance was called, and Sarah was taken to the hospital. Michael accompanied her, holding her hand and crying. "Forgive me, Sarah. This is all my fault. Please, Sarah, say something. Open your eyes." The paramedics tried to calm him, saying, "Sir, please calm down. She's unconscious and can't hear you right now. The case is serious. There could be internal bleeding. We can't predict the outcome now, but you should prepare for any possibility." Michael wept in the hospital hallway, blaming himself for what had happened. He realized how much Sarah meant to him and was afraid of losing her. The doctors performed emergency surgery on Sarah, but unfortunately she fell into a coma. The prognosis was uncertain. The doctors couldn't guarantee how her body would react after the incident. Michael and Lily visited Sarah every day in the hospital, talking to her and reading books aloud, hoping she could hear them and that it would somehow help her regain consciousness. A few days after the incident at the wedding, an unexpected visitor arrived at Michael's office. It was Robert, the potential client who had been at the wedding. "Michael, I need to talk to you, but I don't know if you'll believe me. The fact is that Sarah, the woman you took to the wedding, is identical to my deceased daughter. I know it may sound doubtful, so let me explain from the beginning. My wife and I got married young. We were very happy together. I loved her deeply, but we faced the problem of not being able to have children. Anne had health issues that prevented her from getting pregnant at the time. The only alternative seemed to be adoption from an orphanage, although we dreamed of a biological child. We had never considered the possibility of a surrogate mother until I met a professor of obstetrics and gynecology who agreed to help us. We needed to find a woman willing to carry our baby. We published an ad seeking a healthy and decent young woman for a well-paid task. Among the candidates, we chose Cora, a healthy young woman from a small town. We explained the situation to her, and she agreed to help us, especially because she needed the money to care for her sick child. Everything went as planned. Cora became pregnant and stayed with us, though she frequently visited her child. My wife wore a fake belly. We were preparing to become parents. We avoided going to the hospital, and only the professor was aware of our arrangement. When Cora gave birth prematurely, my wife and I were traveling. Upon our return, Cora had already left. The doctor handed us the baby, claiming to have given Cora the agreed-upon money. We paid the doctor to keep the secret. We were relieved not to have had any problems, so we didn't question Cora's quick departure. We legalized all the baby's documents, paying a large sum to avoid questions. That's how we started raising our daughter Nora, as if she were our own. Everyone believed she was ours. We were very happy. Nora looked like us. When she graduated, I imagined she would become a successful businesswoman and even take over the construction companies. She was healthy, even played volleyball in college. But then she started having fever and nausea, followed by seizures. A tick bite transmitted encephalitis during a picnic, and soon our daughter passed away. It was devastating for me and my wife. And then, at the wedding, I saw it. I saw someone who looked exactly like my deceased daughter. Can you imagine what I felt? I thought I was hallucinating. At home, I told my wife everything. She was confused. But how could there be such a coincidence? We then decided to hire a detective because I couldn't calm down. The man paused, visibly moved, with trembling hands and a choked voice. He took a glass of water, trying to compose himself. Michael, confused and curious at the same time, asked, "So, what did the private detective find out? Is Sarah your relative?" "But that's impossible. She told me she grew up in a dysfunctional family. Her father was always drunk, and she didn't like to talk about it. She also said she wasn't from around here." Then Robert continued his story. "It's almost unbelievable. But Sarah is indeed my biological daughter. It turns out that Cora had twins. She gave us one of them according to the contract and took the second baby to her hometown because her older son was gravely ill. A year later, despite all the doctor's efforts and money, her older son died. The tragedy led Cora to depression and her husband to alcohol, culminating in a life of hardship for Sarah. If I had known I had another daughter suffering, I would have done everything possible to take her away from there and raise her with love and care. Now that I've found her, I discover that she's in a coma, fighting for her life. My gratitude for your support towards her is immense, Michael. Don't worry about what others say. I'll take care of them. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to help you." Michael, stunned, tried to grasp the intensity of the situation. "You know, I'm glad Sarah is your daughter, but I blame myself for convincing her to come to this wedding with me. And now she might die because of me. I want to help her, but I don't know how. The doctors say there's almost no chance." "We just have to wait," said Robert. "Wait for what?" asked Michael, alarmed. Then Robert replied firmly, "Don't worry. We'll do everything possible to save my daughter. I'll find the best doctors. She'll be fine, I promise. I'll do everything because now I have a reason to live. If she knew her father was waiting for her, I think she would wake up faster." These words impressed Michael. After talking with Robert, he went to the hospital and entered the room. Sarah was still lying in bed, with her eyes closed, sensors blinking around her. Michael took her hand and squeezed it tightly. Her fingers were cold and lifeless. He began to speak softly to her. "Sarah, please, listen to my voice. You have to wake up. Your father, Robert, recognized you at that wedding and immediately knew you were his daughter. Are you listening to me? Your father is here for you, praying for your recovery. He's eagerly waiting for your improvement. He loves you deeply, and I'm also here, waiting for you, not just as your boss or just as a friend, but as someone who considers you the most important and beloved person. It was only in the face of this terrible situation that I understood how much you mean to me, how much we appreciate having you in our lives. Please, Sarah, wake up. We all want this more than anything. You're not alone in this fight. Do you hear me?" It was hard to believe, but one of Sarah's fingers moved. Soon after, she began to blink. The machines around her started beeping non-stop, and Michael jumped up to get the doctors. The doctor, with a look of disbelief, said it was a real miracle that Sarah had come back. He said the chances of her waking up after so long were almost zero. But now, there she was, awake and receiving care from the best doctors in the city. And thanks to all this effort, Sarah gradually improved. At first, she didn't recognize many people. She had to relearn how to talk, eat by herself, and, after some time, walk. Michael and Robert stayed by her side. They were the support Sarah needed, always saying that she would soon recover completely. Even little Lily was part of the team, drawing lots of pretty things for Sarah, dreaming of the day they could chat and walk together again. When it was almost time for Sarah to go home, she decided to open her heart to Michael. "Michael, during the coma, I saw myself floating between two worlds, without pain, without feeling like my body belonged to me. confused if I was awake or in a deep sleep. But your words about my dad, your love for me, pulled me back. They made me realize that I had a reason to come back, knowing that you were waiting for me. But tell me, were your words just to encourage me to fight, or were you serious? My heart is yours, but I always saw myself as someone small compared to you, a brilliant architect with a promising future. I thought we could never be more than just friends. But please be honest with me now, and don't give me false hopes. Faced with Sarah's sincerity, Michael knew it was time for the truth. After talking to his daughter Lily, who also supported the idea, he replied confidently, "Sarah, I swear I feel the same way about you, and I also swear I won't let you leave my life. Lily and I need you more than ever. Do you want to be the mother and wife in our family? From the hospital, let's go straight to our home. What do you think?" Sarah couldn't contain her emotions. She couldn't believe her happiness. Gently, Sarah hugged Michael and kissed him shyly on the lips. She looked into his eyes, and then they kissed passionately, pouring all their love and emotions into that kiss. Suddenly, they both realized they couldn't live without each other, and that they felt so good together, as if fate had collaborated for everything to happen exactly that way. But Sarah had another important meeting ahead with her dad. She still couldn't believe that her entire childhood had been disrupted by false parents, while her biological parents raised her sister and didn't even realize they had another daughter. Robert passed by them, and they all went to his luxurious mansion in the city. Sarah was impressed with what she saw. There were gardens, trees, fountains, urns, and various plaster and marble sculptures everywhere. Sarah had never seen anything like it before. An older woman with kind eyes and a warm smile came out to meet her and enveloped her in a tight embrace. "Sarah, my daughter, I can't believe it. You look so much like your sister. Even the little mole under your chin is the same. My dear, forgive us for not being there for you, but we didn't know anything about you. We were deceived, but I'm grateful we finally found each other." Sarah felt like a little girl and didn't want that hug to end. No one had ever hugged her or said kind words when she was a child, but now, hugging her real mum, she felt so calm, so warm inside. She kissed Anne's hands, her mum, and whispered, "I'm so happy you found me and didn't give up on me. My whole life before meeting Michael was extremely unhappy. Many times I wanted to disappear because I didn't want to live. I didn't understand it well. But now I want to do my best to make you proud of me. Your daughter." Robert, quite moved, spoke in a firm tone. "Sarah, my daughter, now all this is yours. We won't lose you ever again. I would be very happy if you decided to live with us and work in one of our construction companies. You have a bright future ahead. I'll teach you everything, and soon you'll be leading all our businesses. But I realized you didn't bring any luggage. You won't stay here with us, my angel." Sarah replied, "Dad, Michael, and I love each other, and I've decided to live with him and Lily. The two of them have become precious jewels to me. But don't worry, because I'll visit you often. That way we can get to know each other better. I hope you understand." Robert warmly embraced his daughter and said, "Look, dear, I'm very happy with your decision because family is the most important thing we have in life. I wish you all the happiness in the world because I know Michael and know how great and strong this man is for everything he's been through. I also know Rachel, his ex-wife, a bad and wicked person who played a real dirty trick on Michael, but even so, he overcame it and is now at the forefront of visionary businesses. It's time for him to take a breath. Michael needs your support, and I see that you are the perfect person to be his new partner. You both have the doors open to our home and can come whenever you want. We would love to meet our granddaughter. I want to spend time and play with her." Sarah officially started living with Michael and Lily, and from day one, she felt needed in that house. The girl was happier than ever because she now had a real mother present, and so she stayed close to Sarah, up and down, almost inseparable. Unlike Rachel, Sarah was patient and loving, besides being an excellent woman for Michael. She also remembered what her father, Robert, had said about giving Michael a break and being the perfect woman for him, always by his side, supporting him in everything he did. And so it was. She was always there to help him, offering comfort, affection, listening to his problems, and always with a sharp mind to solve them. Michael couldn't contain himself or believe it because Rachel had never been like that. Quite the opposite. She was the one who demanded not only affection, but also money and other superficial things from him. Michael began to realize that during their marriage, he was practically a slave to his ex-wife's desires, and that's why with every gesture of Sarah's, he felt grateful for everything that had happened. Finally, he had reached a level of satisfaction because Rachel had left his life. Because if it hadn't been so, he would probably still be very upset about his wife's betrayals with his former partner. After the wedding scandal, Rachel had a nasty fight with her new husband, Jason. Michael's former partner, taken by anger and frustration, couldn't hold back and shouted, "Are you happy now, Rachel? Just look at what you've done to our marriage. You wanted to make Michael embarrassed in front of everyone. And just look at the mess you created. Tell me, why did you invite him without telling me? Congratulations, you managed to make everyone focus on him, completely forgetting about us. Plus, that woman who was with Michael ended up near death in the hospital because of the spectacle you put on to kick them out of the party. What a start to a marriage, huh? Now I see who you really are." Rachel was stunned, realizing that her plans had completely spiraled out of control. Her frustration led her to drink more than usual and constantly look for ways to insult Sarah in a low attempt to hurt Michael. But ironically, it was Rachel who ended up being ridiculed. To top it all off, Sarah, whom everyone thought was just a simple vagrant, turned out to be the daughter of a construction magnate. Joining forces with Michael and Robert, she started working on innovative projects that quickly brought them fame and success. Rachel's life with Jason became increasingly difficult. The marriage, far from being the fairy tale they imagined, quickly deteriorated. Jason no longer seemed as attractive or charming. He began questioning his choices, thinking, if she did that to her partner and friend, what could she do to me? Jason, on the other hand, was also filled with regrets and anger, thinking, if she was capable of doing that to her ex-husband and even abandoning her own daughter, what awaits me? Both were trapped in a cycle of distrust and regret, questioning their future together. When the masks fell, Jason, recognizing who Rachel really was, decided to leave her and seek a fresh start away from that city that only brought painful memories. With his charm and intelligence, Jason quickly found his way and a new partner, leaving without looking back. Rachel, on the other hand, found herself destitute, alone, and in poverty, as everything she had was the result of Michael's efforts and later Jason's. With nothing, she plunged into deep misery, lamenting that only now she realized Michael had always been the love of her life. Tormented by the past and in desperate need of redemption, Rachel embarked on a mission to win Michael back, convinced he was the key to reclaiming her former life. She waited tirelessly near his office, bombarded him with calls, and did everything possible to please him. But Michael became increasingly annoyed and rejected any attempt at reconciliation, telling her clearly, "Rachel, please stop calling me. Stop showing up at my office. Stop looking for me. I have no patience for this anymore. You ruined everything we had, and now, feeling sorry, you want to come back? I'm glad for your regret, but it's completely impossible to think about a reconciliation." You should have thought about that before. Lily and I are building a new life with someone who truly values what they have. Please leave us alone and don't seek us out anymore." Despite Michael's clear rejection, Rachel couldn't accept the end. In her mind, there was still hope for forgiveness and a fresh start with him. She was convinced that Michael still loved her. When she finally understood that there was no possibility of rekindling their romantic relationship, Rachel changed her strategy and began demanding to see her daughter, even though Michael had never denied her that right. At first, Lily was happy with her mum's sudden interest and the possibility of seeing each other on weekends. On a beautiful Saturday in the park, Lily shared with Rachel the happy moments she was experiencing with Sarah. With bright eyes, she detailed how Sarah had taught her the art of drawing and making rag dolls and was always available to talk about anything, always with a smile on her face. However, Rachel, upon hearing incessantly about Sarah, lost control. In a fit of jealousy and frustration, she interrupted her daughter. "Enough, Lily. Why are you only talking about that Sarah? She's just an opportunist, a homeless person who shouldn't be in our lives. Don't you love me as your mother anymore?" Lily, shocked and scared by her mom's outburst, begged to go home. Rachel, however, trapped in mixed emotions, tried to convince her daughter of an unrealistic plan. "Lily, we need to get rid of Sarah, and then I can come back home. We'll be happy again as a real family. You don't need her. You have a mum." Lily's reaction was one of distrust and fear. She continued to beg to return to the comfort and safety of her home with her dad and Sarah. "Mum, I don't want that. I'm happy with Dad and Sarah. Dad's been smiling more, he's not as sad, and he's always around. I love you because you're my mum, but can I go home now? You don't seem interested in me. You never say anything nice. You just get angry." The gravity of the situation dawned on Rachel as she realized her mistake in discussing such topics with Lily, a child who deserved only love and protection. She tried to smooth over the conversation, but the damage was done. Less than an hour later, they called Lily's dad at her request, and Rachel reluctantly took her daughter back home. Upon arriving, Lily was warmly greeted by Sarah in the kitchen, where a sense of affection and teamwork filled the air. "Hi, Lily. It's great to see you. I could use a hand here. How about you help me make an orange cake that your dad loves? We'll mix the batter together, and if you do a good job, you can even lick the bowl afterward. I'm counting on you. We're a team." Together, Lily and Sarah eagerly dove into the task, transforming the kitchen into a hub of learning and fun. Time flew by, and before they knew it, it was already evening. Michael watched them, pondering the difference between Sarah and Rachel. How is it that Sarah shows so much love and understanding, while Rachel can barely maintain a healthy relationship with her own daughter? I feel incredibly lucky to have Sarah in our lives, bringing the true essence of family, love, and support. Meanwhile, Rachel wrestled with her internal turmoil, unable to find peace after the upsetting encounter with Lily. She turned to alcohol and medications to escape, blaming Sarah for her misery and isolation. Convinced that Sarah was the reason for her separation from Michael and the distance from her daughter, Rachel spiraled deeper into destructive thoughts, fantasizing about removing Sarah from their lives, unaware that the real issue lay in her actions and choices. In a moment of utter despair and under the influence of alcohol, Rachel decided to drive to Michael's house with a terrible plan in mind. However, fate intervened before she could carry out her tragic intention. Losing control of the vehicle, she crashed violently into a tree, causing a commotion in the neighborhood. Michael, Sarah, and Lily, alarmed by the noise, rushed outside to find the chaotic scene. Rachel, injured and covered in blood, stumbled out of the car and began pleading with Michael. "Michael, you need to come back to me. I'm the right choice for you. Let's forget about this manipulator and start over. Just us and our dear Lily, don't you think, sweetheart?" Seeing her mother in such a pitiable state, Lily cried softly and said, "Mom, you're wrong. You've had too much to drink and are talking nonsense. I don't want to go with you, and I don't want you to stay. Sarah is good to us. Please don't speak about her like that." Rachel, overwhelmed with frustration, tried to rush towards them, especially towards Sarah. But in her unsteady state, she stumbled and fell to the ground. An ambulance soon arrived to take her to the hospital. The seriousness of her actions and the tragic outcome, with news of her impending death, deeply affected everyone. Michael, relieved despite the pain, became even more dedicated as a father and partner. With Sarah by his side, he provided all the support Lily needed, explaining the situation with care and love. At Rachel's funeral, Lily cried a lot, but understood that her mother's actions were the cause of all that tragedy. As the months went by, Sarah, Michael, and Lily grew closer than ever, sharing joyful moments like watching movie premieres together in the comfort of their home. Surrounded by the love of her dad and Sarah, Lily recovered from the loss, embracing life with a newfound perspective of hope and joy. They became a true family, bound by an unbreakable bond where love, mutual respect, and deep care for one another prevailed. Their home was free of grudges or misunderstandings, filled instead with affection, loyalty, and warm companionship. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. You may also enjoy these other stories. Have a good session.